Are you curious about how you can accelerate your career into a senior leadership or C-suite position in record time? Curiosity is great, but do you also have the commitment to change? I ask because I've spent nearly 25 years as an executive coach and C-suite advisor and have observed the critical factors between those that make it to the top of the corporate ladder and those that don't. Now, as you're listening to me now, it could be that you've been overlooked or passed over for a promotion, even though you've had a great track record, even though you truly deserved recognition or a promotion. But when the time came, nothing happened, or someone else was elevated. Or maybe, just maybe, you find yourself losing confidence around people in power with those big personalities. You know, you want to stand up and speak up, but you fear the consequences and choose to stay silent. Very often, what got you to this level will not get you to the next level because the rules of the game have changed and your future success is all about influence, not your competence. Now, these issues sadden me and excite me at the same time. I'm saddened because the best people are not always recognized or rewarded. So many of my clients have spent years working hard and patiently waiting for their shot, but it never came, resulting in them missing out on the ability to make a difference and be rewarded or promoted. Now, I invite you to imagine 3 to 5 years from now, doing what you're currently doing, feeling what you're currently feeling, thinking what you're currently thinking. Will you be in a position you deserve to be with influence and reward? Or will you be stuck feeling like you could do more and that opportunity has passed? Realizing that your results depend on you doing the right things. Will you allow me to share the difference that makes the difference? I'm Andrew Bryant. I'm a best-selling author, an executive coach, a C-suite advisor to leaders and companies across the globe. From giving keynote speeches to audiences as large as 12,000 to working one-to-one with CEOs pivoting their companies, I know what it's like to be in the leadership club, and I know what it takes to be invited to join. I've had the pleasure of guiding hundreds of executives in their journey to senior leadership and C-suite roles, and the honor of being a confidant and advisor to C-level leaders and executive leadership teams. Because I've worked both sides of the C-suite door, I know what it takes to be seen as a leader and to operate successfully at this level. Now, obviously, much of my work is confidential, like the vice president of a semiconductor manufacturing company who called me because he was stuck doing the same thing and felt he had more to offer. By helping him to identify and articulate his purpose and his brand, he was able to break out of his career present as a vice president and become the CEO of an exciting, well-funded Silicon Valley startup. Or the female Southeast Asia finance director of a well-known bank who was passed over for a less qualified male candidate. And after helping her articulate her value, she landed the global CFO role for a digital bank. Other clients are happy to share their success stories here and on LinkedIn, like Kevin from Singapore, who had worked his way up through his organization, delivering win after win, but lacked the executive presence for a C-suite role. But after working with me, he received that CEO role for a joint venture with a major airline, and he transformed himself and that business. When Anjali came to me, she was a program manager. She was struggling with self-belief, but we flipped that into a strength. Anjali's doubts about herself became a helpful tool for self-criticism and advancement in her career. She received a number of promotions as a result of our coaching together, and became the head of delivery and is now a chief financial officer and a founding board member. Daniel was a lead technology architect for a mining company. He came to me ready to get into the C-suite, but realized he needed to develop his leadership skills. With my practical, actionable advice, Daniel became Director of Global Technology with a share in the growth of an exciting company. Now, I'm inspired by all my client successes, but I must give a special shout out to Grant Halloran because I've been Grant's coach for over 20 years. I started when he was a young software entrepreneur, and as Grant writes in the foreword of my new book, Andrew is still my coach. The experience has been transformative to me on so many levels. We've worked together through fast growth times, 3 massive economic downturns, and acquisitions of companies that I've led. Andrew's work has correlated strongly with far better results, regardless of the situation, than I could ever have achieved on my own. Are you ready to commit to get results like these? If you are, then I'm ready to show you how you can. But first, you need to face the truth. The truth is that the hope, work, and pray model may have worked at one time, but it certainly doesn't work today. What is the hope, work, and pray model, you may ask? Well, you hope you get into the right university. You hope you choose the right degree and hope you will land a good job. Sound familiar? Then you work hard to learn the ropes, work hard to please your boss, and work really hard to deliver results. Have you done that? All this time, you pray that your boss likes you, pray you will be noticed for your hard work, and pray that you will be asked to join the leadership team. Over the years, I've talked to hundreds of executives who report that this model leads to frustration, self-doubt, and finally, burnout. Perhaps you've felt the same. Yes, your degree and hard work will get you started, but they are not enough to get you all the way. You need another model, the C-Suite Accelerator model. The C-Suite Accelerator model consists of self-leadership, executive presence, and influence capital. Let me expand. In my 2012 book with Dr. Anna Kazan, published by McGraw-Hill, we define self-leadership as the practice of intentionally influencing your thinking, feeling, and actions towards your objectives. By intentionally influencing your thinking, feeling, and actions, you're able to see options and grasp opportunities. You are the driver, not the passenger in your career. Without self-leadership, you're just a pawn in someone else's game. With self-leadership, you become self-aware of your leadership and communication styles and learn to adapt and become agile in different situations. Imagine being able to understand yourself and others so that you can confidently read any situation and influence the outcome. No more second guessing or putting your foot in your mouth. One of my past clients, Basan Singh, wrote me a LinkedIn recommendation that said, "Putting these learnings into my life has helped me grab a global head product role. I personally saw 2 to 3 times growth in every aspect within 4 months of starting coaching with Andrew." Executive presence is the ability to project gravitas, confidence, and poise under pressure. We all know someone who can command a room, to whom everyone listens and gives respect. What would it feel like if that was you? Not that you are necessarily seeking the spotlight, but the spotlight finds you. It's well documented that lack of executive presence is the #1 factor people get overlooked for leadership roles. Regardless of your country, culture, or credentials, I can coach you to increase your executive presence virtually and in person. Now, Stephen was a general manager of marketing at his company. His head was buried so deep in the marketing segment that he was passed over for a global leadership role. But after working with me, developing both his self-leadership and his executive presence, he is now a global director of that company. The third and final part of the C-Suite Accelerator is influence capital. Because as a leader, you are measured not by what you do, but by what you're able to influence others to do. You know you have influence capital when people say yes to your ideas and insights, when you're asked for your opinion rather than having to pitch it. But before you get there, you need to learn how to play the game. During our coaching together, Sandeep made a lateral move from Dell to Amazon. He tells me that he keeps the notes he took from our sessions on his desk. Now, Sandeep already had some executive presence, but he needed to understand influence capital to navigate the dynamic and challenging environment at Amazon. By applying what he learned, he has transformed himself professionally, and new and exciting possibilities have opened up for him. Now, you have two options to consider. Option one, you can walk away from this opportunity and spend the next few days, months, maybe even years doing the hope, work and pray dance and wondering whether you could have accelerated your career rather than doing the same things and getting stuck in the same position. Or option two, you could commit to finding out more and click the button right below this presentation to book a consultation with me. What will we do together on this consultation call? Well, I'll ask you a few questions and to get a sense of where you are, what you're looking for, and what might be holding you back from a senior leadership or a C-suite role. And if it's a fit, I'll invite you to work with me either one-to-one or to join one of my group coaching cohorts. This is a no obligation call, but my time is valuable. So only book a consultation if you are committed to stop doing what's not working, start your journey into a leadership or C-suite role, and continue our conversations together. You have now seen and heard some of my client results, and I have hundreds more. If I can help them, why not you? They made the call and committed. You can too. Click below and exercise your option to seize an opportunity. I'm Andrew Bryant. To your success.